Welcome to another Kings of War 3rd Edition Battle Report. The Troll Wars. Goblins versus Northern Alliance. 2,300 points. Scenario Raze. Though the Goblins ransacked the Northern Alliance camp in the previous battle, they did not get the key item they were seeking, the Brew of Luck. Historian Sean Dietrich, History of the Troll Wars. For those of you that have been following our series of battles, this is the same list I've been using every game. I think I've made two minor changes. One was the Fleabag Rider Stiff Regiment instead of the stickers, and the other one is I dropped one of the magic users for the Bang It, and those are pretty much been my changes since the start of the campaign. So on to my list. I have two hordes of Sharpstick, one with the Hammer of Measured Force, a horde of Rabble, one Leggett Gang with the Mop-Up, which I forgot about, a Fleabag Rider Regiment with a Mop-Up, which I forgot about, a Troll Horde, a Rabble Regiment, a Fleabag Rider Sniff Regiment, a Goblin Winged with the Spotter. The rest of the list is a King on the Chariot with a Mace of Crushing, which I forgot, a Goblin Blaster, two Big Rock Throwers, a Mop-Up Launcher, a War Trombone, a Flykit with the Loot, a Wizard with Bane. Alright, now for Craig's Northern Alliance. 3 regiments of Snow Foxes, 2 troops of Icekin Hunters, 2 regiments of Ice Elementals. Then he had 4 hordes of Clansmen, 1 with Sharpness, 1 with a Blade of Slashing, 1 with a Diadem, and 1 with a Mace of Crushing. 2 Icekin Bolt Throwers, an Ice Queen with Surge 8, Heal 5, and the Wings of Honey Maze, a Scald with a Boomstick, and a Thane with Talinar Standard. Just going to make one comment on here. I really think I would drop the Wings of Honey Maze and put the Inspiring Talisman on the Thane, because it cost him late in the game on a reroll that he didn't have. So anyway, that is, if I said one change to that list, that would be the one I would do. Alright, we're on to deployment. Since we're playing Raze, the little skulls are my objectives, and the marker he put down was so small I went ahead and made some stars on them so that you guys would not be confused as to where the objectives he was seeking were at. Alright, starting on, I'll actually do his side first. Starting on the left side, we have the Snow Foxes, behind them the Icekin Archers. The first horde, that one had Sharpness. The next 2 hordes, I don't remember which one had Crushing and which one had Slashing, because I think Craig does the same thing I do and forget about them. I know that Unit D had the Diadem. On the hill were the 2 Bolt Throwers. On the right was another unit of Snow Foxes, followed by some Ice Elementals, followed by the Icekin Hunters, then another unit of Ice Elementals, and then lastly a unit of Snow Foxes. On my side of the table, a lot simpler. The Giant, beside them the Leggetts with the Mop-Ups, which again I forgot. That is my crack horde of Goblin stickers with the Measured Force. With them, behind them is the Magic User with Bane Chant. And then there's the, sorry folks, I had a brain cramp. That's the Goblin Blaster. Next to it is a Rabble Regiment. Next to that is the War Trombone. Then a regular unit of Rabble Horde. Then the Mop-Up Launcher. The Trolls are behind a wall. The ASB is behind them. In front of the 2 Rock Lobbers are a unit of Sharp Sticks. Off to the right is my Speed Flank, which is the King on a Chariot, a unit of Sniffs, then a unit of Fleabag Riders, and then finally the Wing It with the Spotter upgrade. I really thought I could get to that left objective very quickly, but it kind of was hinged on the first turn. Since our armies move almost identically, who gets the first move is going to have a huge advantage in this game. On the right, I wasn't too concerned. I'm pretty sure I could get the one in the woods over there. The middle and the other one were a question mark. Um, and I also thought I could defend the rightmost star, but the left two were going to be hard with all those hordes opposing me over there. So it's going to be interesting to see how the game pans out. The the fields and the woods and everybody put a lot of hindered stuff going on, which is very difficult to deal with since it's all right in the middle. And I had no caterpillar in my entire army, so it was really going to be bad for me. All right, unfortunately, the Northern Alliance got the first turn and surged forward, um, securing all my objectives where I couldn't get them early in the game. Um, the worst thing to happen was the brew of luck was just an amazing thing for my friend Craig, and he did 5 wounds to my giant before it even moved, and 5 wounds on the horde on the right before it even moved. And this is despite cover, despite everything. It didn't matter. It was like a machine gun, just gunning my poor little guys down. So anyway, good moves on the first turn. He knew I was coming around fast on the right flank, so he had to start responding quickly because those wolf riders will be, I'm sorry, those fleabag riders will be in your face before you know it. All right, I moved up boldly on the right side, trying to get around those woods with my fleabag riders. Also moved the bang it and the wing it up behind the woods there in preparation of some seriously fun grenade tossing. The sniffs and the chariot shot at a unit of snow foxes and wavered them. My shooting was abominable this entire game, so I dropped a mop-up, both rock lobbers, had the spotter on Unit D, 1 wound. Over on the right-hand side, I'd moved up the war trombone enough to do 3 wounds to Horde B. At least that was something, but there should have been a lot more damage occurring in this thing. It was just abominable. All right, I think this is the end of my turn 2. Just wanted to show you what was going on. On the left, his shooting just piled more wounds. I'm up to 12 wounds on turn 2 for my giant. Now, my shooting did some viciousness to his unit B, but it wasn't just the shooting, it was the thing blowing up that did a bunch of wounds to it, kind of a suicide charge in there. Unit D defies all logic, and I've done 2 wounds to him. However, I've done now 7 wounds to his ice elementals. My goblin chariot killed the wolves in front of it. The nice thing, I know how the 7 happened. I moved the bang it and the wing it in there to throw grenades, and then shot with the snips from the far corner back there. I just kept moving them back. On the right, I danced the fleabag riders away from those stupid ice elementals, and you can see that his shooting has eviscerated that middle goblin unit. I am up to 13 wounds and wavered on my turn 2, and just could not believe the effectiveness of what little shooting he had. I'm not saying he had any over the top shooting at all, none. It was just that it was freaking amazing when he was doing it. So this is the end of Northern Alliance turn 3. The evisceration is even getting worse. I Legates died to a charge from the clan warriors on the side. The Brew of Sharpness really did help them out this turn, hitting on 4s, and I thought I could have maybe survived, but I didn't. Unit C did 8 wounds to that other horde in the middle, which isn't bad, but they were hindered on the way in. Unit D did 6 wounds despite being hindered on my trolls. The elementals, being hindered, charged in and wiped out the my poor sharp stick regiment. The ice elementals moved around, moved through the trees, surged up, and then shot my fleabag riders, and of course wavered them. The shooting on the I put 3 wounds on my goblins. I'm sorry, on my goblin chariot, and you can see over the side the giant. I think he's on 12 wounds. He is teetering on the edge of death. So life has not been good for the goblins in this game. Okay, the goblins are trying to claw back into this. The on the left, the giant charged into the horde. There's no reason not to. My unit of sharp sticks with the measure force charged into the other clan's unit and managed to waver them. I was amazed. In the very middle of the unit opposite of his unit C, I just backed up and shot because I knew I wasn't going to do but 3 or 4 wounds anyway. So I went ahead and shot, did 6 wounds, which was good. Bane chanted my trolls, who got the unit D up to 11 wounds. All I did on the right side was just turn toward those ice elementals. There was nothing I could do. They were kind of stuck. The Goblin King charged into his unit A, which are Icekin hunters, and did not waver them. I think if I would have remembered my Mace of Crushing, that I probably would have wavered. I missed by 1 point. My Rock Lobber on the far right side did manage to waver his bolt thrower up on the hill, which made me happy. So yes, there's an intermission in our battle report, and the reason why is because Craig had to go eat dinner, and so there was an intermission. And at this point in the game, the goblins are definitely on their back foot. I mean, they are in deep, deep trouble, and it's going to take everything to try to get out of it. Craig is doing really, really well this game. I mean, his dice rolling has been rock solid. His tactics have been solid. I don't know what. I mean, I was so frustrated, so I was kind of glad for the intermission to come back and kind of think about it a little bit. All right, I think this is a combined turn 4. On the left-hand side, the the clansmen destroyed the giant and started pivoting toward the flank of my goblin sharp sticks. I got the unit B up to 15 wounds and just wavered them again. It was bad. Unit C, however, because between the winged, the artillery, and the war trombone, got that unit up to 14, but did not waver it. My trolls got wavered by shooting. My sniffs actually flank charged that unit of clansmen and destroyed it that turn with a good roll. But I had Bane chanted them. Would have been better if the trolls weren't wavered at the same time, but you can't have everything. Now the king on the chariot, he was up to 6 wounds and he was in trouble. My unit over on the right side, the flea bags were killed by the ice elementals, but I had done 4 wounds on them with the bang it, so it was kind of a consolation prize. But again, the shooting was just eviscerating my army. I mean, just wavering and just totally messing me up. And like I said, he doesn't have a lot of shooting. It's just he was rolling really, really well, and really well on the leadership test. So that was good. I mean, it was tough, but by not killing Unit B, I pretty much sealed the fate of my other unit of goblins on that flank, my other horde of goblins on that flank. But I was encouraged by the damage that I caused Unit C, and I was glad that Unit D was gone, and that was the unit I was trying to kill on the first turn by trying to beat it up with shooting. So anyway, we'll go on to turn 5 and see how the game pans out. Yeah, this game's getting tight. So my goblins, predictably, on the left-hand side were destroyed by the flank charge from the horde of clansmen with the brew of sharpness. And in the middle, his horde C destroyed my mop-up launcher. At the bottom of the screen, he just focused all of his shooting at my king on chariot, and he was wavered. So I have less and less units to respond with. He also put 2 wounds on my wing it, which fortunately passed his test. Alright, this is the end of his turn 6. All the shooting wavered my poor trolls again, even though I did manage to turn toward him. Makes me feel better. He moved his unit D archers up to try to take that objective on the left hand side. His unit A, I think, is going to sidestep down to take that objective in front of him, in the edge of the field. I know unit A, if there's another turn, is going to move up and try to take the other objective. My Goblin King died horribly in another just flurry of excellent shooting. It was awful. It was awful. It was just like being on the end of a machine gun the whole entire game. But kind of going fast now because there are so few units left on the table. My wing it is wears a little 1 wound on him right now, and is sitting there, and I'm going to move him forward on my turn to try to take that objective, and I need to try to grab another one somewhere somehow. Alright, so in my turn 6, I flipped the nice and nimble sniffs around and had them headed back toward the middle objective. Regenerated a bunch of wounds on the trolls. You can see that he's moved his unit A. He had side moved it down to contest his objective, which is in the corner of that field. I shot everything I could possibly shoot at those stupid Icekin hunters, put 7 wounds on them, and still did not waver them, or did not break them. I could not believe it. It was just crazy. I focused other shooting over on his unit D, and it managed a single paltry wound. My idea was that if I could get that unit and destroy that unit, that would leave that objective by itself, and that I would win by 1 point. The same thing on unit A. I was trying to destroy it so it wouldn't get the other objective. Any dice roll could have won this game either way. Alright, after having lived through the perfect storm of dice rolling, there was a turn 7, and I was really just content to take the draw, as bad as everything had been going for me. Something to point out is over on the right hand side, and I don't know if I ever said it, but the Bang It managed to take out that unit of ice elementals by himself just by throwing grenades at it. My only chance in this game was he just stayed where he was at. I focused my shooting over on unit D, got it up to 4 wounds, and didn't do anything to it. And the morale's not that great. I mean, just any kind of average roll, I think I could have killed him, but maybe I'm wrong. The big thing is all his shooting focused on my wing it and did not kill it, which I was like, because if he had killed it, he would have won. If I would have killed his unit D, I would have won. I didn't have enough movement with my trolls to get to the middle and contest that objective. Because of the wall, I couldn't march. So maybe next time I want to put Strider on him or something just in case. I don't know. He did heal up his unit A, but of course it was turn 7, so he couldn't move. So that was the end of the game. It was a draw. When we counted up the points, I think we were 8 points apart in the amount of troops that we had left over. 8 points. After all of that game and all of the stuff that happened on both sides, 8 points. That is freaking amazing. You're talking about a balanced game. You pretty much couldn't ask for a better one. Alright, just want to say that was an amazing game. Just fought all the way to the end. Any dice roll at the end could have won it for either one of us. And so, I mean, that's the way gaming to me should be, which is nip and tuck battle the whole way, and just trying to do everything possible to win the game by focusing on the scenario. It's so easy sometimes, and I lose a unit, and I'm like, oh, I've lost the game now. But that's kind of goes back to my Warhammer days, not to the Kings of War days. In the Warhammer days, if I lost a key unit, I really did lose the game because I would lose the capability that it gave me. In this game, I really only think that if I actually asked Craig to play the list he had. The last list he played against me was so easy to beat. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. So I told him, so bring back the other list. It's tougher, and we'll have a better game. And I don't mean tough like over the top. It's just tougher for me to play against because of having 4 hordes of really good infantry. The only improvement I would say to make to his armor is just like I said before. I would drop the Wings of Honey Maze off the Snow Queen and put the Inspiring Talisman on the Thane, and I think it would just make the army so much better. And I don't really think that the Wings of Honey Maze are a good use on the Snow Queen anyway, because those guys shamble. They're not so fast that she can't keep up with them and surge them whenever she wants. So that's just my 2 cents worth on the Northern Alliance army. Right now, I don't think I would change too much, maybe accept that. As far as mine, I really thought that I've been using almost the same list, so I really can't say that this list is this or this list is that. I guess some of the improvements I've made to the list over time is I've added a Goblin Blaster to the list, which has worked really well. Goblins aren't going to beat you in melee. They're just not. And you have to weaken everything down to a point where you can actually fight it, and that's been my goal. It's not to destroy whole units with shooting, it's just to get them weakened so that my pathetic goblin troops have a chance. So like I said, that's kind of my play style with them. The other thing I've swapped out, I used to have a wizard with the boomstick, and I liked it, but I'm really thinking that the bang it is better. Because I usually could sneak him forward early in the game, like to get into a woods or something like that, and then the entire game, because he's an individual, I could just dance him around people and just throwing grenades on him the whole time. And if I get the wing it in place at the same time, I'm throwing 6 grenades a turn, which is not bad. That's a decent shooting phase just by itself, and that's what. And the bang it actually is what killed the ice elementals over on the right flank. Otherwise, they could have came in there and taken that objective. So it was a huge shift by having that bang it in the game. I'm not saying that the magic user with boomstick would have done exactly the same thing. It's just that I think that people see that one little bitty model and they really don't react to it until it starts doing something really horrible to them. My shooting this game was appalling. It was so bad. Even if I hit, I didn't wound. And if I got a morale check, I blew it. It was crazy, just crazy. The dice going back and forth in this game. But what did work with the shooting was what I call death by 1,000 paper cuts, which is between everything, getting a wound here, a wound there. Like I said, I wasn't getting chunks of wounds. I was, except for when I used the Goblin Blaster. That was a good chunk of wounds at one time. And otherwise, I was just getting wound here, wound there, but it was weakening those units exactly the way I want to do it and being able to finally finish them off. But it was rough. When I was playing, I was getting so mad at the dice. If I would have had dice, I would have thrown them. I have to admit, I would have probably thrown them out the window of the house if I had real dice in my hands, and thank goodness I didn't, and thank goodness I didn't do any violence to my computer over the dice. But again, great game. Play with my best friend, having a great time with this Troll Wars thing. I really encourage you to kind of come up with something like this instead of just playing tournament games every time. Come up with some themed terrain. Don't worry about whatever everybody else says about terrain. Come up with some idea to link your battles together and just play and have a good time. Not every game has to be a tournament. Not every game has to be a slugfest, try to kill every figure on the table thing. A game like this in the end, I mean, I'll remember this whole series of games for years to come because of how much fun we've had, and how we haven't, even though we knew what each other was going to play, how we really haven't structured our list to beat each other specifically. Now the final battle is going to be big. It's going to be 3,000. We're not going to do it online. We're going to do it with real miniatures, and it's the final battle of the Troll Wars. I'm expecting to see 10 hordes of trolls between both sides on the table for the final battle. We got to call it Troll Wars for something, so we got to have the Mega Troll battle at the end, and I'm excited about it. Can't wait for it. I've got some models to paint up because I do not like doing battle reports with unpainted models. I think, I'm not saying that I don't enjoy watching them. I'm just saying I enjoy seeing two painted armies on the table because, I mean, to me, half the fun of playing the game is just seeing the spectacle of it. It's just to see it, and that's what I don't like about playing online. But playing online lets me play more people. I mean, because our area is 3 of us right now, and otherwise we have to travel to another city to play. So that's why I've been liking the Ultimate Battle games. And if Craig and I are busy, I have a lot of stuff to do with my children right now, and we can actually start a couple of turns and just pause the game and then come back and play later with really break. I mean, this game, we took an hour and a half break right in the middle of it. For me, I was watching football and he was going to supper and spending some time with his wife. So that's the nice thing about it. You can't do that when you're playing on the tabletop. Well, I guess you could, but then what does the other person do for an hour and a half? So anyway, I encourage you, if you just want to have some good games, set yourself up a little campaign, put some reasonable parameters on each other. I mean, it's easy. I could have pulled a Goblin gun line out and just blown him off the table, but I don't have fun doing that. And I know it's not fun being on the other end of it. So the idea is, for us, is both of these armies are so balanced. There's only been one blow-away battle in the whole thing. It's mostly been draws, or even if one of us wins, it's like by the slightest margin. So I think we've done a good job of balancing these two lists for our little campaign here, where it's really kind of coming down to a little bit of luck and some skill to try to beat the other person. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Can't wait to do the big Troll Wars 10 Horde Troll battle maybe next week, and I'm out of here.